Some advertisements stay in our mind forever. For instance, when I was a kid, my parents used to watch the news in the morning, and my brother and I were left with 5 little minutes to ourselves, which we would enjoy by doing what? Putting on some pictures, of course. Unfortunately, in these 5 little minutes we had to ourselves somewhere dedicated to advertising. And in this little every morning day routine, I learned one thing that I would have never imagined I would learn in my entire life, and this thing is the miel pop ad. Yeah, I know some of you could laugh, but I also know that parents in this room will know what I'm talking about. But for the rest of us, maybe you're more familiar with advertising like the L'Oreal one.
Yeah, I would say that it's one of the most recognizable and memorable ad and slogan of the world. I personally know that my grandmother knows this slogan, my mother knows this slogan, and I know this slogan. But very few persons know what's the story behind this slogan, and we can realize how revolutionary it was for its time. So back in 1961, just a couple of years after May 1968, which has brought so many social changes, a young female copywriter who was working at L'Oreal came one day with this line. And it was totally revolutionary because it flipped the beauty narrative so much, and it was in extreme contrast with all the stereotypes regarding women at this time.
Indeed, Eileen Speck wrote this line deliberately in the first person, a woman speaking for herself at the time where her advertising was still narrated by men. So big changes. The first time actually in the mainstream hair ads that this kind of advertising is proposed, and this specific advertising has allowed L'Oreal to become one of the biggest companies in the world. In fact, throughout the 80s and 90s, the Because We're Worth It advertising was the most recognized ad worldwide.
A simple and iconic slogan. And guess what? 15 years after, new generations still know and remember this brand and slogan. But what truly matters is that L'Oreal didn't stop at just a slogan, but they also invested in equity and responsibility. For instance, the L'Oreal Foundation has a partnership with UNESCO as has launched a program, the For Women in Science program, which supports thousands of women around the world, regardless of their origin and any circumstances, to pursue a career in science. They also committed to invest $70 million for the question regarding gender equality and pay equity. And recently, L'Oreal also decided to integrate more the ecological question. For example, they have a strategy to reduce their emission. They have decided to develop eco-friendly products and to invest more in renewable energy. But all those commitments are not just a coincidence, but they are the result of the belief of the former CEO of L'Oréal, François Dalle, which had a leitmotiv, seize the moment. And this explains why L'Oréal was one of the only company to commit with the United Nations Global Impact in 2003, and now is one of the most recognized company to be invested in sustainable development goals. And L'Oréal is also one of the very few company to produce, which has produced a document with around 47 pages which explain their strategy, their goals regarding the question of sustainable development goals.
Like my colleague just showed you, L'Oréal is a very great example of what SDGs can bring to your business. Big companies have incredible powers, and with great power comes great responsibilities. But especially with nowadays growing regulation from governments, expectation from customers and consumers. It is the responsibility of companies like L'Oreal to adapt. For sure, this kind of change is not simple to implement, takes time and investment, which are a lot for a company. But as François Dalle insisted on, you must seize the moment. Do you guys believe that I remember the Miel Pop side the first time I heard it? Of course not. I had to suffer watching it every day for several mornings until it got stuck in my head. So it took time for me to remember it. Well, instead of the Miel Pop apps, I want you to think about working towards the SDGs. It is probably going to be not easier, I will not lie to you, but surely more profitable for your business. At the end of the day, we are all worth it, and so should your business be.